Hey coin collectors, welcome to DC Coinwell International Coin Channel, and you'll notice that two of these things are different than the other two of these things. We have the United States 1962 5 cents coin on this side and the Canada 1962 5 cents coin on this side. Both countries call them a nickel at times. This Canada coin in 1962 was actually 100% nickel. They had not switched from nickel at that time. The United States coin, on the other hand, is about 25% nickel, and the rest of it is copper. So let's take a look at the differences between these two coins. Well, the first thing you notice is Queen Elizabeth II, a Mary Gillick portrait from when she was 29 years old, is facing to the right, Thomas Jefferson facing to the left. It says Elizabeth II, Dea Gratia, Regina, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, on the front of this coin. On this coin it says, In God We Trust, Liberty. There's a star there and a 1962. So the date's on the front of the American nickel, not on the front of the Canada nickel from 1962. We also notice that this seems to have a shape to it, and in fact, it does. This is a dodecagonal coin. It's a 12-sided coin. The United States coin is a round coin. They are about the same thickness, but not quite. And they don't actually weigh the same. Canadian 5 cent coin from 1962 weighs 4.54 grams. The US coin from 1962 weighs 5 grams. And that might sound like a small difference until you start making millions and millions of them. You're going to need a lot more material to make a 5-gram coin than you are to make a 4.54-gram coin. They are both about 21.2 millimeters in diameter. The back of the Canada coin is a George Kruger Gray beaver on the back. There is a maple leaf. It says 5 cents. Another maple leaf. Down here there's a KG for George Kruger Gray. And down at the very bottom it says Canada 1962. And in the center, of course, is a beaver, maybe working on a log, or maybe on top of a beaver lodge, or maybe both. And you see it has a geared outer rim, but again, the back isn't round either. The back is dodecagonal also, with a little bit of a lip going around it. On the back of the United States coin is Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home. It says E Pluribus Unum at the top, United States of America at the bottom. 5 cents here, and then Monticello. And the way that you can get a really valuable US coin is you have the steps on the back of it, and you can see that this one probably has very little value at all because there are no steps that you can see. If you go way over here to the side, you see that there's a Denver. Canada only made its nickels at one mint, and that was the Ottawa Mint. So they didn't need a mint mark back in 1962. In the United States in 1962, they made it at two different mints. They made it at the Denver Mint, where they made 280 million of these, and they made it at the Philadelphia Mint, and let's see if this is a Philly here, the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, where they made 97.4 million. It turns out that the most valuable nickel from 1962 is the Philadelphia Mint State 67 Plus full step, and that's worth about $14,500. Denver didn't make many full steps nickels in 1962, so the most valuable nickel from Denver doesn't have full steps, but it's a Mint State 67 worth about $5,000. And you can see a little bit more of the steps on this one. The front and back of this coin was engraved in 1938 by Felix Schlag. But in 1962, they didn't have his initials on there yet. If you look at the modern coins, you'll see there's an F and an S down here. That came in 1966. They put Felix Schlag's initials on here. On the Canadian coin, this is a Mary Gillick portrait, and at that time they did not put initials of the engraver of Queen Elizabeth on the front of the portrait. There are no initials for Mary Gillick. I should also say that in Canada, they follow whatever the portrait is on the United Kingdom coins. And so when they brought the portrait over from Canada, Thomas Shingles did a little bit of the touch-up to make this fit to the Canadian coins. Thomas Shingles also touched up this coin a little bit on the back, but the original engraving was by George Kruger Gray, and we can see his initials on there. The United States, to the best of my knowledge, has never had an odd-shaped coin. All of their coins that I've seen have been round. The United Kingdom has some very odd-shaped coins, and Canada has had some dodecagonal, and now they have a loonie, the $1 coin from Canada, which is hendecagonal or 11-sided. So Canada does have some different shaped coins than we do. They also have some different portraits on the front than we do. The United States nickel portrait on the front did not change between 1938 and 2005. And then they changed the Jefferson a little bit, but he's still on there. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth, this is the first portrait, but they went up through, I believe, 5 different portraits of Queen Elizabeth on the front of the Canadian coins while she was queen. All right, that's all we have today from DC Coin World. We'd love to have you subscribe to the DC Coin World International Coin Channel and leave any comments you have in the comments section.